On Second Shot, we tackle 2 new headlines every week to find out what kind of wisdom the world is dishing out today. And we want you to be a part of that. When you see a headline you want to take a second shot at, or if you're looking for advice, or just want to tell us what you think of the show, email us at secondshotcast@gmail.com. If you like what you hear, rate us on iTunes. This helps us move up in the ratings so more people will see us. And if you want to hear more, subscribe to the show so that the new episodes will get straight to you every single Friday. We love you. Thanks for listening and enjoy.
There's a lot of news in the world today.
News that might surprise you, startle you, upset, or maybe impress.
News that's not always for the faint of heart.
That's why the man who failed his way to success, Heath Oakes, is stepping up.
Tackling today's headlines with ignorance on fire in a way only a millennial mogul can.
Take off your sport coat, grab a beer, and enjoy the conversation.
This is Second Shot with your host, Heath Oakes.
We have so many awesome things to cover on this episode.
I know.
Like, number one, stay tuned till the third segment because we got something really cool we're going to drop the ball on, which I'm pretty pumped about.
I don't know if we're going to drop the ball on.
Yeah, that's true. Again, that's just something I don't make sense as me and normal, right? But everybody else was going along getting
We're going to drop some knowledge on you, though, and invite you guys to something.
Number two is we've got a perfect psychological experiment to do.
Oh, yeah?
Yes.
Okay.
So Jenny and I were in, so by the way, my wife Jenny in the studio, Zach and Matt as always. What's up?
Hey, guys.
Hello.
Jenny and I had a little getaway this weekend, went to Hot Springs, Arkansas for like 2 days, like literally drove up, went down there, came back. And one thing we found, there's like the whole deal, Hot Springs is these bath houses, right? The bath row house, like, because of the
Are you guys familiar?
This really, like,
Not
they've got like the best mineral water,
really,
that comes out naturally. All this cool stuff.
There's only one
it's
other place in the world that has similar mineral
Mineral
structure.
Wells, Texas. No,
Yeah. So now I assumed, I was thinking, oh great, this is probably like this spa thing, right? That it's like you go and probably, and it's like you get to soak in these jet tub like with this really special water, and then you probably get done and maybe you're relaxing in a good, like, real legit spa thing. No, here's what I learned. You take Arkansas people literally. Here's what I learned. When they say bathhouse, they mean bathhouse. Well, we went to one, and I'm not even kidding you. Old Jimmy walks me back there and says, "Get on naked and jump on in." And then
Jimmy bathed Heath.
And then Jimmy goes to grab a scrubber to scrub. I'm like, whoa. You ain't got me drunk yet. Okay, moving a little fast, Jimmy.
Listen,
I may need to get to know your last name, a little something first, but no, you ain't scrubbing me down.
You're supposed to buy
So
me
this
dinner
was
first.
for people who are listening and thinking, wait, I didn't have that same experience in Hot Springs, Arkansas. So
We
this
went
is
to
a
a
traditional bathhouse. There's tons of different types of bathhouses. Perhaps some of them are more spa-like, more like what Heath was expecting. But this was a
Right.
traditional bathhouse where you go in there, and I said, so should I wear something? Do I wear my swimsuit? And they said, well, only if you're super, super modest. You won't need to because you're going to be behind a thing. No. It's like Joan, scrubbing you. Like you're in the bath and she like grabs your arm and scrubs you. So the social experiment is this: who just sits in the bath and is uncomfortable but pays for someone to scrub them?
Yeah,
and
who goes in there and says,
and who says, you know what, I'm good, I'm gonna go.
Yeah, like who would stop Jimmy from scrubbing them even though they're uncomfortable? You know what I mean?
You're saying like once you're there, you're committed to
like you're in there and
bit.
Jimmy says drop it and get in, and you don't say and you say, okay, Jimmy, can you stand behind the curtain, or do you just drop it and get in? And then when he grabs his scrubber and starts to scrub on you, do you let him scrub on you?
Yeah. I like to believe that in those situations, you're not showing them something they haven't seen already. So, I mean, I'm not saying that I would feel totally comfortable with that, but in my head, at least thinking about it, not being presented with that situation, I would like to think that, well, I paid to come here. I might as well get the experience.
Well, we got done, and then I was supposed to have a 20-minute massage after it all, and I was literally almost dying the whole time I was in this bathhouse. And then whenever I realized that the massage coming up, Bob was going to be giving me the massage, I said, nope. I'm done. I cannot have. I was like, I couldn't wait to see my wife and just hug her and kiss her and just roll around with her some. I mean, like something. Like I just felt so violated.
You needed a shower after that.
But I stopped Jimmy from scrubbing me. They have all the best intentions. But it just was very weird and uncomfortable.
Obviously, plenty of people enjoy it, or they wouldn't have a business there. Obviously, plenty of people are going in, enjoying, taking it for what it is, not feeling totally comfortable. It was just, I think we didn't really know what to expect. And so then we went in and we were like, oh, you're coming in here.
A Yelp review would have helped.
That would have done it. Yeah, that
some
would
of
have solved this
what
whole
we found
thing.
out, we went to the traditional one. There are the ones that aren't, and we figured that out. But I'll say, I mean, I'm like, I wish maybe they could have gave me a glass of wine in the lobby and loosened me up some. I mean, I just went in there.
So I stayed in the whole time, also uncomfortable,
Yeah.
but because I had.
She was freaking out about me the whole time.
I was like, oh geez, Heath is freaking out right now. I knew
He's gotta
I was
be a
in there
wreck.
myself, and Joan's scrubbing me, and
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, Heath is also freaking
Jim
out
and
in the other
Joan.
room.
Wow.
Jimmy.
Jimmy, I'm sorry.
Jimmy.
Yeah, excuse
Jimmy.
me.
Anyway, much love to the place we went to because they're doing great and people are loving it and enjoying it. It was just like
It's just
didn't know.
obviously
Yeah.
we didn't know what we did not look into it enough to know what we were getting into. Just figured we'd wing it, and that's the last time I'm wing. Well, and I also go, well, you know what? They said bathhouse, so I mean that's my own
That's
fault,
on
right?
you, yeah.
I tell you what I love about this. Somewhere along the way, you thought to yourself, I'm going to talk about this? Second shot.
I did. No, I did. I did.
Well, and we said that's
Yeah.
a good. It's interesting. What kind of person sits in, and I say endure because there's nothing wrong with it. But
No,
if you're
of course
uncomfortable
not.
with it,
Yeah.
who sits there uncomfortable, just like, okay, I'm just gonna get through this, and who is like, nah, I'm good, I'm out. And
Well,
of course, Heath got up and we left, and I was like, I'll just be polite. You can scrub my arm.
Sure.
Well, I'm just, not mean,
Yeah.
look, everybody's been in those locker rooms, men's locker room, women's locker room, where you got the men and the women, some of the men that just walk around just,
They're those guys.
birthday suit, full glory, zero
Before
shame.
God and
then
man.
some guys that just put a towel on, right? I'm a towel guy. I'm not just,
Right.
I'm not okay. But
Did you feel relaxed at the end of
No,
the...
zero.
No, didn't help at all.
Very tense.
that was very tense. It was not
Very,
good.
very tense. Okay,
So,
anyway, we're
this
digressing
episode will
so
be
much.
long because of this, but I thought everybody had to understand the traditional bathhouse really means a legit bath, and just make sure you know that. But it's also perfect because I guess I don't regret it,
Yeah.
because at least I know now, and so that can lead us perfectly into what our first headline is.
What a segue. Yes, this is an article based on a paper out of Cornell. The boys of the lab have finally done it. This is the biggest regret in life most people have. Cornell psychologists identified 3 elements that make up a person's sense of self, and I don't want to get too far in the weeds into it, but essentially they said that when asked, people said that their biggest regret in life, 76% of people said it was not fulfilling their ideal self. And to be clear, your ideal self, according to this, is made up of the qualities you want to have. It's the person you want to be. And 76% of people said their biggest regret was not being that. Weird.
That is, I think it is the most tragic thing to see someone at the end of their life and to hear them say they wish they would have done this, this, and this.
Oh, yeah.
And that doesn't mean that everyone needs to be accomplished in terms of tasks checked off, but to be someone who has a desire in their heart to do something and for whatever reason they didn't do it, I think is tragic. I hate that, to have a life where someone feels like they didn't fulfill their potential.
And also, just not just their potential, but like it says, becoming the best of them.
Yeah, because it only matters in your own head.
Yeah, it really does. And how you not work, we had that email a couple weeks back where that guy said, he had listened to the show, and started becoming 10% better, and how he bought a couple button-up shirts and he
Cleaned out his car.
car, and those kind of things. It's like those are those steps to becoming that ideal self, and I think it's also in today's world. What's unfortunate is that a lot of people think they've got to be some of the the keeping up with the Joneses type thing,
Sure.
as people say. Well, no, it is. It's fulfilling you, you moving to whatever the best you is. It's not the Joneses.
But for some people, keeping up with the Joneses, that is their thing.
And if it is, that's great.
And so that would be fulfilling to them. They would feel really satisfied by that. But if that's not your thing, then you're empty at the end.
But you've got to be working on yourself. Yourself is the number one thing. Like that's what something to go look up for everybody would be, look up Les Brown. Look up Les Brown and look up Live Full and Die Empty. Okay? He's got a lot of talks on it. And then you can go to the iTunes store and download, it's like a audio book kind of thing. It's actually some of his speeches on the Live Full, Die Empty thing. And I've literally, I can't tell you, I've probably listened to it 100 times. But what he talks about is that you need to live full and die empty. So live live a full life, but die and go in the grave without anything there, with it all gone, with it all exhausted, that you've done it all, you've tried it all, and that unfortunately some people live a life full of dreams and I wish I coulda and woulda, shouldas, and they die empty with none of them ever being accomplished. And the Live Full, Die Empty series on Les Brown, if you look it up, man, it's such an awesome thing to just motivate you, to inspire you to want to become the better ideal self for you. Because I agree with that. I would say that the biggest regret would be not achieving the best you.
And part of that, too, is looking at your own decisions. My mom always teases with me and says, you never regret any decision you make, because I have the knowledge that I'm the one that made the decision.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm like, oh, gosh, I can't believe I didn't do this. Okay, well, or, oh, well, I couldn't. I had kids. Well, that, all these things are choices.
Yes.
Whether and everyone has different circumstances. I'm not being insensitive to people, but on a day-to-day basis, how you deal with each situation is up to you and how you make your choices. I mean, I made a decision to leave a previous job knowing I may not get another job. And I knew with 100% certainty I would be okay, because I'm the one that, I'm the one that made the decision, as opposed to regret, like, oh gosh. And sure, there were times where I thought, oh no, what did I do?
Yeah.
What did I do? But also it's like, did I make that decision? Yes. Okay. Well, then I can't regret it.
Yeah.
That's on, that's on me. And it was a do. And then the reward was then I found something else.
Yeah. I've never really regretted much either. I mean,
it's kind of weird
because I look back and think, if I would change anything, then so much could be different that brings me so much joy. But I mean, it is, but there are so many people, the majority of the people are sitting in spots where they're not where they want to be. And I mean, and we've talked about it before, Zach. Remember you asked me, you said, what if somebody wanted to be, average and stuff, remember? And I was that's 100% great.
Right.
I want them to be, but be fulfilled in that. Don't let that be something that's really going to be a regret because you're just trying to do it really to prove a point, or if it is or not. Like, whatever that is, fulfill it yourself and not looking at the others to what it is to somebody else guiding it. And I may sound like a broken record on some of the past shows, but becoming the ideal self is just 10% at a time.
Right.
You don't have to do a massive overhaul.
I think of stuff like this anytime I see a particularly kooky video of just a really odd person on the internet, because it happens.
Yeah.
I saw this video a while back. It's a woman who makes, out of all things, she makes sweaters and mittens and hats and winter clothes out of dog hair.
Yeah.
Is the weirdest thing.
Super specific.
Very odd. Yeah, and nobody else does it. And people would look down on her. I mean, she's on the video. People are laughing at it on Facebook. But at the end of the day, I'm like, that woman looks in the mirror and likes who she is.
Yes.
And that's way further than a lot of people can say they're at in life. So,
isn't it?
Credit where it's due. I respect the hustle, even if it's, not for me.
If it's not dog hair.
I think that if anything else, that if you can walk away from this and realize that your ideal self is the best. Not anybody else's ideal self. It's you. Not what anybody else has or does not have. Your ideal self, your self-worth is what by far is the most important. And if you are in a position that you're not happy, you're not fulfilling your ideal self-worth, then make the changes. You have the choice to do it. Anything that you let your head say that you're not going to happen, that's because it's just those are those mental blocks that you have the ability to bust through. And don't go to the grave empty with all the things that you wanted to get done. Don't go to the grave full of all the ideas and full of all of the stuff that you wanted to create in yourself. It's if you need the permission, you got the permission. Go fulfill you, be better than what you want to be right now, and keep striving for that, and things are going to turn out just great for you. Don't worry about everybody else. And I think we got a pretty hot topic coming up just a minute on the second segment, Second Shot.
He's a suit and tie kind of guy with deep Southern roots. Heath Oaks hosts more of Second Shot coming up on RNCN.
To all of my friends in the great state of Texas, if you have not taken advantage, I have a way to save you a ton of money.
I have saved over about $3,000 in the last year, and I have no hassle. Go to energyogre.com, put in the promo code SECONDSHOT. Now listen, promo code SECONDSHOT, and you're going to get a free month just for signing up and saving a ton of money. So don't be crazy. Stop sitting around talking about is this the real deal, and go do it right now. energyogre.com, promo code SECONDSHOT, and a free month. Thanks. Go get it now. Run.
Ready? Aim. Fire. Second Shot is back for another round on RNCN.
Well, if you don't know about this next story and headline, then you're literally living under a rock.
Oh, you.
That was good, wasn't it?
That was not good.
You stole my segue. It's exactly where I was going to go. I was like, if you haven't heard because you've been living under a rock, no pun intended. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Oh, gosh. Well
Both
done.
of you have lame
Heath
puns.
Oaks.
Yes, I'm on top of
A
it
tip
all.
of the hat, sir,
Thank
from
you,
across
thank
the
you,
table.
thank
Yeah,
you.
well done. Yes, the other story we have for today's show, Thai cave rescue. All boys from Thailand soccer team out of cave today. As the day we're recording it. Yes, this was just earlier
Yes.
this happened. Yeah. The boys, for anybody who doesn't know, ages 11 to 16, and their 25-year-old assistant coach became stranded in a cave in Thailand when they went exploring inside after a practice game. Monsoon flooded, blocking their escape and prevented rescuers from finding them for almost 10 days. Today, the third phase of the high-risk rescue operation was brought up, happened. They got the last kid out of the cave, and the last person, I think, to stay was the assistant coach. Yeah, and he stuck
and then
around.
the doctors.
And then a doctor and 3 Navy SEALs at the time of this article are the only ones who still need to get out of there. So that's it. But the kids and then the coach have made it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just so many things that I go with from this story. I think about fear. I mean, the parents fear that their kids down there. The kids fear being in there. The rescue people's fear going through there. I think about also the selflessness that the coach, who was in the worst shape, more than likely because any of the supplies or anything they had, he let the boys have before him. That the doctors that were willing to go down there and stay down there with them to help care for them. They didn't have to go get into the rough situation, but they did to help take care of them, and then said they would be the last ones out to make sure they got everybody healthy enough to get out to go through that. That amount of selflessness is a next level awesome human being, like, in my opinion. You know what I mean? Like, you're a next level awesome person.
Yeah, it was super intentional to say they knew that the rains were coming. They knew that there were 2-foot passageways. It was super intentional, as opposed to, we've talked about bravery, like in a split-second decision. So this is a totally different set of characteristics and traits, probably embodied by the same type of person, but the split-second decision to say, yes, I'm going to go pull that person from the burning car, and also the decision to say, I am packing up my bags right now, leaving my husband, my wife, my whoever, and going down into this cave where it was highly unlikely that everyone was going to make it out, and they all agreed.
Well, it definitely wouldn't if a doctor couldn't get down there to help take care of
I'm
them.
going to wait until we get each and every one of these boys and their coach out. So it is impressive. And you were saying it kind of made you think, as we take a second shot at a second look at all the headlines about how people deal with fear.
Yeah.
And how, what do you think? Do you have a certain set of coping mechanisms or a plan, a system?
I actually kind of thought about it on 2 of them, really. I mean, talking about selflessness as well. Like, I feel like that second shot of being being somebody who is not selfish, right? Like selfish people are not anybody that I think is a character trait that anybody likes, right? But the level of unselfishness that these doctors did is just unbelievable. And I find myself being very envious of them in their selflessness, like going, man, could I have done that? Would I be somebody that would do what they did? Like I would hope I would, right? Like, you would hope I would be somebody that would be that unselfish to do that. And I have so much gratitude and respect for them. It's just off the charts. And they dealt with the fear in a way that they obviously had a mission, and they were obviously very driven to help like no other, that the fear was all drained away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it reminds me in an opposite way of that question we had a while back on the show when somebody asked, If you could look in a mirror and act like you were your boss, would you fire you? That was the question. And it's a very sobering reality for people. I think this is the exact opposite side of that coin, is if you were in those shoes, would you have done the same? And it's inspiring, I hope, for most, right? That's what we're going for.
Yeah, and some people will look at that and think that's insurmountable. Like, I can't possibly have that type of bravery and selflessness. Okay, fine. But can you hold the door for somebody?
Sure.
Can you stay 10 minutes later? Can you help someone out and not mention it and not tell anyone about it and just do it? Like those little things, we don't have to be necessarily inspired to save 12 lives or, not everybody has the capacity for that. But can we be a little bit better?
Yeah.
Don't you think if the world was a little bit, if everybody didn't worry about the consequences that would happen to them to help others or to put others in a better light, if you weren't worried about yourself so much, what could happen? Because a lot of people have the fears. Oh, well, what if I, put that person there and then they get the job over me, or they get this or they get that or whatever. Instead of it, this is me thumping my quote I say 100 times that I go by. But you can have everything you want in life, helping enough other people get what they want by Zig Ziglar. And I honestly do believe, and I will tell you this, here's the thing, is if you're somebody that feels like you're a selfish person maybe in some areas, I want you to think about it, and everybody answer me here. Does anybody see selfish as a positive character trait? No. Who do you?
I feel like there's a big movement right now, not to totally do a right turn. There's a huge movement, and it's an interesting. I feel like it's kind of like one of those slippery slopes. Like we might look back in 20 years and be like, me time, self-love, self-care, all this stuff, and all of a sudden the kids are running around, who nobody's watching them.
Sure.
But there's been like a big turn to that. But no, in the sense that you're saying, no, nobody wants a selfish person. But do you kind of know what I'm talking about, Zach?
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I think I'm picking up what you're putting down.
I get that you're talking about maybe like the probably more so in the mom realm of that whole thing.
Because our moms, like my generation's moms, didn't have any time to themselves. And then
but it's not
we all grew up. I know, but I'm just saying you asked that blatant question, so I was like, I don't know. Someone out there listening might be thinking of
that's an important opinion.
So anyway, I'm just thinking about that part, and I think that the self-love is obviously important. Time for yourself is very important, but to your point, no, nobody wants someone who's entirely selfish.
Again, there's a line there. It's like if 90% of your time is your self-love and not your kids, then you're being over the extreme
narcissism.
Selfish. Okay,
yes. Yeah.
You need your time, you need all those things, but there's that deal. But it's like, when those things come up, that maybe it's when you definitely want to be for yourself and watch out for you and you only. It's like when you start making some of those changes where you get really uncomfortable and put somebody else in front of it. It's like once you do it, it gets easier every time. And you'll feel like a fraud at times because you're having to make a conscious effort to want for them, more than because you naturally want to be selfish in that deal. So you start kind of feeling like a fraud, but understand that that's not being a fraud. That is you are wanting to make that change to become a more putting others first. And I can promise you that that's not a meek or mild or a weak thing.
And I think that's the concern, Heath. That's interesting that you put that forward, knowing that people will think that, because I do think people think, well, if I always am putting everyone else first, then I'm going to be walked all over and I won't be seen as confident, self-assured,
nice guys finish last.
Yeah, like nice guys finish last kind of thing. Or like, women in the workforce, so, many women feel like we're always trying to prove ourselves, and so then if I'm elevating this other person, but it doesn't work that way when you have genuine intentions.
And it's not that you're like, like every, you're always the one in the background, and you're not putting yourself out there in a way all the time. There's just that line. I honestly believe that if you just catch yourself more than often than not, sometimes putting others, just not worrying about some outcomes that may affect others better and harming you, having faith that it's going to work out better for you in the long run, and it's because sometimes it's making that decision where a lot of times it can actually hurt that person and but it's going to be better for you. That's the kind of selfishness I'm talking about. Like that doctor and them, it was going to hurt those people if they didn't get down there to do that, right? And they made that decision. So, I'm talking about making that unselfish decision that, it's, I have made decisions in business where I've taken a leap and said, had some position deal that was literally taking money out of my pocket. Like it was going to cost.
I remember that one.
It was going to cost me. It was going to cost me a pretty large sum.
Yeah.
To help this other person be able to get more. But in the long run, the hope too was that we were going to grow bigger and faster. But it was going to cost me a considerable amount of money.
All right, an investment.
Yes.
All right.
And I did it, and I made more money than I ever made before.
Yeah.
And now I could have never told you how that math would make sense before that. That's not. Seriously, I did not see how that was going to happen.
Really?
I thought it was going to be a long-term, much longer, but it didn't. But because of that, that's happened. And now that wasn't an easy decision. That wasn't something that was a habit still. I wanted to be selfish. I go, no, there's got to be another way that we can get some of this growth without me giving up this much, right? Mm-hmm. And so, but I stewed on it, and I had to make myself want to do it. And when you make those decisions and those good things happen down the road with it, then it just makes the next one easier. Mm-hmm. It's not all the time, but being an unselfish person there's a line. It's not like you're just a meek, mild person that always goes, oh, everybody can run me over. No, that's not what it is. It's just, if it's better for others' interest than yours, put them first with it at times whenever it's going to do that and watch what happens. Especially in the, everybody in these uber competitive worlds and all that. I'm competitive. I want to win. And I always say I'm going to do everything in my power to beat you, Zach.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to trip you to beat you.
Right.
Okay, and that's the difference is I want to beat you, but I'm not going to trip you. I'm not going to tie your shoelaces. I'm not going to do anything to make it easier for me to do that, right?
Yeah.
But I want to beat you.
I just to give you a shameless plug for a second. There was a bit in your book that I think it was Scott at some point. Yeah, he was leaving to go somewhere for a bigger gig, and you were like, it would help me if he stayed.
Yes.
But it's better for him to go do it, and it would be silly of me not to encourage him. So it makes sense.
And it worked out for me.
The book is Ignorance on Fire. You can buy it on Amazon.
Now understand this. It has not always.
Yeah.
Okay. There have been times I've done it and I've been burned and I've been taken to the cleaners. Be fully aware of that. But I'm okay. That out of the 10, the 8 that have screwed me, that have done me wrong, that did not, that went on to maybe, try to trash me in any way to get themselves better after kind of putting them in it. I don't care because, the Scots and some of those 2 of the 8 there.
Yeah.
It's the joy from watching them prosper is so much better than the 8 that took me for a ride, that it's all worth it in the end. Step out there and try to put yourself in that. Those doctors literally, that is just the gratefulness I have for them, the utmost respect for those. I don't know if I could do that. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I could be that brave. I don't know if I could be that unselfish. I can tell you this, it does give me another perspective of unselfishness to shoot for, that a bar that I want to try to keep continuing to be better, because that is just a level of it that I go, man, that's a long ways to go. And I want to try to achieve that. I would love to see that my daughter becomes somebody that can be that unselfish as well one day, and see that inside me to kind of get there. So bravo to you, to the rescue helpers and all with that. You guys, they're just remarkable. We'll be back here in a minute from the third segment of Second Shot.
Now that's what I call ignorance on fire. More of Second Shot with Keith Oakes still to come.
You guys have been listening to Second Shot and hearing us talk about it. You need to go pick up my book, Ignorance on Fire, A Journey of Failing Your Way to Success. You can get it on Amazon in a paper book. You can also hear this beautiful voice of mine in audiobook style on Audible or anywhere you're going to get your audiobooks. Guys, this book took a lot of time to put into it, and I believe it can really be some life-changing stuff to help you on your path to success. And hopefully you're going to fail your way to success just like I did. Ignorance on Fire, A Journey of Failing Your Way to Success. Amazon.com, Audible.com, audiobooks, paper books, everything. Get it, share it with your people, and I appreciate it. Thank you, guys. Go pick it up today.
Kick off your boots or suit up. The choice is yours. Welcome back to Second Shot on RNCN.
So here is our big news that we're gonna kind of talk about releasing today and start adding in all of that, and I'm gonna let my beautiful wife kind of describe it and talk about it.
I'm super excited about this super secret Facebook group.
Uh-oh.
Okay, so it's the Second Shot Facebook group. Heath already has a fan page for his book, but this is different in that we thought it would be cool for everyone who typically writes in or listens to the show or is just a part of our community to be a part of an actual community. Because sometimes people will write in with, maybe successes, and it's fun for us to be able to cheer them on the podcast, but sometimes that's delayed. Or more importantly, with questions like, hey, I'm kind of in this spot at work or with my family or with my, relationship or something like that, to be able to post in there and get answers from a like-minded community. Because I feel like we've gotten such a neat group of people that are kind of like around this podcast and really like tuned in and plugged into the podcast. It would be kind of fun for everybody to be able to connect with each other.
And it is a closed group. You have to go send an invitation, and all Matt, Zach, and myself and Jenny are all admins, and there's one question, and we approve it because it is very important to me and to all of us on this cast that this is not a place for hatred. This is not a place for negativity. This is a place for positivity and uplifting. And we feel like the group of people that are really Second Shot followers, all are very like-minded. They're all trying to get better, whether it's business, personal, or anything. And that if we can get a whole group of community of people together that, and some people have got a question about getting, a logo designed, right? Like there's a good chance that this community, somebody's going to have some experiences with it to try to maybe help somebody out, right? Maybe you don't have a massive community around you personally, and you had a rough day, and you kind of just go, man, this has been a doozy, type thing, and maybe, I look for all the people can maybe help lift up. Maybe you had something really great happen, you want to share it. Maybe you see a headline, a sign, and you want to post it and give us your second shot on it, right? Like, and then we'll also be giving you some more insight to kind of behind the scenes here and some of the personal life of us as well, and just build a community of good, solid, like-minded people looking for other people in that same arena. So it's a closed group. Second Shot. Go on Facebook, look up Second Shop. It's closed group. Send your invitation.
It's that black, white, and red logo.
Yeah,
the one
the microphone.
Yeah, I'm really excited about this because normally, Matt and I we do a little bit of podcast producing, and normally, if you said we want to be involved, it's fine. Normally, we'd say if you want to be on Facebook, we should make you a fan page. Everybody can go to it. It's open, and you guys came up with this on your own, and you told us about it.
This is really my wife.
Oh,
she's
all right,
the one.
Fair enough. Yeah, Jenny, tip of the hat, and you said we could do that, but we just like in classic Second Shot format, we want to be a little different. We want to do something a little different, and we want to make this little just like place, this hub where people who like the show and kind of feel the same way we do about the world can get together and just like chat, and we can post videos and photos and be like, what do you guys think of this? And articles we don't get to.
Yeah,
just a little
get
place.
Feedback.
Yeah,
and it's kind of private among the community of people who really listen.
Yeah, because
you
got to answer a question. It's community. It's closed. I mean, so it's only going to be for the people in there.
Yeah,
and I found these types of groups very beneficial, and I think I have a great network of people around me, other professional women, moms, things like that. But for very specific times in my life, whether it's like career transitions or when Brighton was little, I joined some, like moms groups, nursing groups, all these different kind of things. And I was like, wow, this is so cool, these online communities, and they grow so much, and you really can pop on at 2 a.m. and get some advice from somebody or, so I thought that would be a good thing to kind of like offer to everybody.
And I think that this group, between us four, there's a lot of things of completely different types of styles of stuff that we can kind of bring from, your on-air media, your radio media, your producing to the, designing
web
to
stuff,
put that out, web stuff to just a dumb sales guy.
Yeah.
I mean, there's all kinds of stuff that everybody can bring, and that our community of listeners that we have from all over the place that are doing things that, really trustworthy, just bringing us together closer and making it more of a unique group where hatred and any of those negativity will be zero tolerant. You will be deleted and removed immediately with
we're
zero.
not about that.
I'm not about that at all. If somebody's You know, the old golden rule: if you got nothing nice to say, don't say it. Also, if somebody says something, post something you don't like, it just don't say anything. Okay, that's just know your prerogative, but don't. This is uplifting. This is a place I want people to feel comfortable to come to. You know, and also getting the real reviews, because today's world, say you're looking up to a place to go get a design, right? Mm-hmm. Like, reviews online are almost all fake. Y'all know that, right?
Yeah.
Don't say that.
No, there is. No.
We have reviews on this show.
These reviews are legit, except for some are from my mom and dad.
No, but I'm talking about when you go on to, it is a massive issue. There's like a thing called a review finder, review mender, something.
You can buy reviews.
Well, you can also, like, say you go look at a toy online at Amazon, okay, and you're reading the reviews.
Sure.
You can click that link, copy it, and go put it in that thing, and it will run a test and tell you
which reviews are
percentages of them are. Yeah, because if there's 200 reviews and 170 came within 48 hours, and they all had the same, because that happens. So I feel like with a real community of real people,
advice and stuff.
That he's got some real people here, that maybe some people have done it that we know for sure what we're getting into. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, I'm looking
so
forward to
go
it.
look up the Second Shot group, join it, post it. Let's help each other out. Let's be let's help others taking the second shot on life and business and all those fun things.
Yeah. And like you mentioned, the email's still around if you're about that. But check out the Facebook group. Yeah,
secondshotcast@gmail.com. You can still send any emails you want maybe if you want a little bit more private of some sort. But then if you share your headlines and stuff on there. We also got a new review on iTunes.
This one's real.
Yeah, this is a real one.
We put it in Amazon.
It's fine.
Finder or whatever.
We ran the numbers. That's right.
Yeah, well, and again, I'm shaming you right now if you're listening and you still haven't been the one to go leave a review. We need more. I want, you real people, not a robot. You real people, go leave us one.
It's fun.
This was from a Shad Coates, and it's titled East Texas Roots. I've enjoyed listening to this podcast from day one and never miss an episode. Always like hearing his perspective on issues, business, and relationships. I also enjoy reading his book. I've come to realize that a lot of his ideas, opinions, and work ethic and rooted in his East Texas roots. I grew up right up the road from where he did, although being raised in a certain part of the country or by good parents or bad parents doesn't define who you are or who you will become. There's a lot to be said about these Texas values. Thanks for the podcast. Keep up the good work, Shad Coates.
Oh, man.
Thanks, Shad,
Mr.
for writing
Coates.
in.
Yeah.
Cool.
Very well. Man, he could have just been like 10 out of 10. Would listen again. Like, he actually wrote it.
But that's what I love about our people, though.
It.
If you go read our reviews and stuff, our people have the exact, real thoughtful things of what grabs them about the show. And that's what's awesome. That's why I think we can, this community can be something strong, because the community is very into it with this podcast, and I love that.
Not to drive away any potential reviews, but if you do just want to get on and be like, I like this show, that's fine.
That is 100%
We'll take
fine.
it. It's fine.
Yes.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yes, the more the merrier.
Yeah.
No, it's from an old friend of ours named Javier, and this is actually a pretty cool thing. I have heard of this, but so Javier sent us in a deal wanting to get our thoughts on it. Have you ever heard of Mel Robbins?
Mel Robbins.
Mel Robbins.
Oh,
like
MEL Robbins.
Well, this is lost in translation with his accent. Everyone,
Gotcha.
he's saying Mel like MEL.
Mel Robbins. No, not familiar.
Okay, so she has a TED Talk, and go Google Mel Robbins TED Talk. Okay, the 5 seconds at a time thing. So I have seen this, and I have heard of this. She's an author, and she talks about this deal, and it's literally called the 5-second rule. She'll tell you it's the stupidest thing ever, but counting down from 5 and awakening the frontal cortex potentially changes your life. So as we've talked about before, the frontal cortex is your learning brain. That's the only way you can learn, and it is also the smartest part. And I got to say, when I first have read some stuff on her and did some of that in this rule, I was like, okay, this is the stupidest thing. But then I really did start understanding it. But he said, look, it kind of, he goes, it actually works in that it's worked on him. And he said, he was so nervous and threw it on him for his daughter, wanted him to sing something. And he just said, okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And he just sang. And he goes, and it really worked. And he goes, have you heard of this? The 5-second rule. And so basically what the 5-second rule is saying, that if you've got, those times you procrastinate on things maybe, or that you got something really nervous you have to do, or you've got anything you're kind of putting off, you're nervous, you don't want to do the 5-second rule. Go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then go. Right?
And just do it.
And just do it.
Right.
And it sounds stupid, But what it does, it actually is a science that it does awaken your frontal cortex. It does make that come to rise, so you will actually kind of do things. And if you think about it, how many times, growing up, was it always, okay, go on the count of 3, right?
Oh, totally.
It's something always
Yeah.
kind of worked, right? There's something about that ending time that goes.
Well, it's interesting that you bring that up because that's a technique that we use in personal training too. I worked as a personal trainer for like 10 years. Anyway, so clients come in and they're maybe having like a lethargic day, or they're just not really in it, but they booked the session and they're there anyway, and you want to get them a good workout, but they're completely unmotivated to do a timer. Say you're going to, okay, awesome, good job. You're going to get 20 seconds rest. And then we put up the little timer. And then when it gets to the end, 5, 4, 3, 2, go. And people, without arguing, for some reason, will always go at if you give them the 5, 4, 3, 2, instead of like, okay, whenever you're ready.
Yeah, but see,
they'll sit there the whole session.
That's where she talks about those science behind it.
Yeah.
And so in any aspect of life, let's just say, Matt, you're getting into it with your wife. Your wife's mad at you and stuff, right?
I'm
and you want to
very
lash
familiar
out.
with this.
Never happened before.
At that point, before maybe you respond, go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and it's amazing how it changes your emotions and your everything. You know what, Javier? I'm so glad you brought this up, because this is something that I probably need to bring back into me right now as well. And I'm glad you did. But go look that up, because she talks about the science, and it makes sense. It sounds really dumb, but going 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, like in anything, it kind of helps stop you from making emotional gestures of any way, or it will help you do what it is you need to do. It's just amazing how just creating the 5-second rule can kind of help you, guide you in your life. So
that was a great reminder.
Yeah, this is a good reminder, because I have listened to this a long time ago. So thank you, Javier. And everybody go look it up, Mel Robbins, MEL Robbins, and the 5-second rule.
Let's add that to the Facebook group.
We should absolutely
Yes.
do that. Yeah, not to underplay his accomplishment real quick. Also, Javier, singing in public, nice moves. Well done. Not easy for
He
people
said,
to do.
it was scary. And he said,
Oh,
but he tried
sure.
the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and it worked.
Singing in public. Man, oh man.
Well, guys, we love you. Member the Second Shot group, secondshotcast@gmail.com. And Jenny, where can they find you?
At Jenny Anchondo TV on Twitter, JennyAnchondo.com, my website, which is terrible and always crashes, but it's up. And on Facebook, search Jenny Anchondo, or Instagram.
I'll be at Apple Zackintosh on Twitter, a little bit on Instagram, and I'll be on that Facebook group hanging out. So yeah, come check it out.
And at Ignorance on Fire at Heath Oaks. Leave us a rating and review. Shaming is continuing, but I do love you, and I can't wait to get to know you all better on our group. Love you. See you next time on Second Shot.
RNCN, the digital destination for premium talk radio.